Hello, everyone. It's Marshall. I'm back. My computer apparently froze entirely. I lost everything. I apologize for dropping the stream, but again, everything was frozen. It just took me a while to reboot and come back. I also wanted to verify that I had legitimately lost the stream, which I did because I wanted to recover it without breaking up the video. But I apologize. There's now going to be a part 2 to the video because we had an interruption. When we left about 5 or 6 minutes ago, when my stuff crashed, we have what appears to be a breakthrough of the French at the Prussian line. The French are breaking through the Prussian line. And I don't see how the Prussians recover from that. But I'm going to get back into the Discord channel with the umpires, see what their calculus is, and talk to them. Unfortunately, we've lost our viewers. We don't have concurrent viewers now. Some of you may get a notification if you've subscribed and come back. Others of you will see this part 2 later, and that's fine too. So again, I apologize for the technical issue. Sometimes things happen, and apparently my computer decided that it was done. It needed a comfort break. So it's not just me. All right, let's take a look here. I see no concurrent viewers, no chat rate, no views. So I also wonder if it says the stream is good, stream settings. Let's make sure that we're not like set to private or anything. I think we're fine though. Enable. It's public. So just we lost the viewers when the stream went down. I'm sorry about that. Okay, let's hop into our Discord and talk to the umpires.
Yeah. I should know. I should know the one guy that I'm looking after. I've forgotten his name. Of course, it's Blucher.
Yeah, I'm back,
guys. Yeah. Could someone just cover him? Because I've got to take the dog for a walk. I've got to.
We might actually call it pretty soon. I think we'll see. We'll give it a couple, maybe one more turn, and then I might resolve another turn without taking orders.
Yeah, I think my dog might actually take a dump in the sitting room here if I don't take it for a walk soon. So
yeah,
let it go.
I think I might do that as well.
Well, yeah, not in my sitting room, you know.
Sure?
Yeah, well,
yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure on that. Oh yeah, here we go. The dog is now up on the sofa. So, all right, guys, I will. If it's okay, I'll leave you with Blucher.
Yeah,
sure.
I think this may be the last turn, depending on.
Yeah, right. I think. Yeah.
No. All right, then. I'll catch you later.
Yep.
Cheers. Yeah.
Do we want to maybe do one more turn after this, and then do a 40-minute turn? Just say like, what are your orders for the next 40 minutes? Just
I might make the 40-minute turn this turn, depending on how it goes.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
So everybody understands it is a rule in the IKS that the dog belongs on the couch. The idea that the dog does not belong on your furniture or your prized possessions is absolutely alien to me, at least in my family. The dog is a member of the family of higher rank than the people in the house, and that's the dog's rightful place. So.
Marshall, you're coming through it. I know you're trying to say cat, but it sounds like you're saying dog.
Yeah, I am.
Is there something wrong with Discord?
Yeah, probably the audio's just not right, you know.
Yeah,
my computer crashed and I lost the live stream about 10 minutes ago, and everything's been haywire since. I had to reboot and come back in, so I apologize to everyone for losing the live stream, but it does look like we've reached a decision point. I feel personally, and it looks like you guys are having that same conversation.
Mm-hmm. I think we'll resolve another turn of combat, and then that'll probably call it then.
Well, I would let Blucher get the reports and then see what he does, you know? I mean, what does he do? Does he
Has
Does he
Blucher
throw-
got reports? Yeah.
Does
or-
he throw good money after bad, or does he say, all right, that is, we're going to live to fight another day? That's, always an important dilemma to give to a commander, I feel. But yeah, let me pop down to Cookie and see where he's at psychologically.
I might come with you since I think we're mostly
I'm still
ready. I
delivering.
think I can afford to listen in because I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm looking for... Oh, here he is.
He's
All right,
red one.
Got it. All right. Hello, Blucher, also known as Cookie. How you doing?
Depends.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm seeing now where the French heavy attack is coming.
Okay.
Blazer, you are muted in case you're saying anything.
I know. I'm just listening in. I'm not saying anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, basically, I just got a teleporting dispatch rider, who told me that there's a heavy French attack. Infantry broke through the center and 3 battalions. I expect that is where the enemy has deployed probably at least a core-sized attack and is trying to punch through now, trying to divide up my 2 cores. That is what I currently think, considering that the enemy is not pushing in the west, and von Zieten is able to hold there without any major difficulties, and I think they are just being pinned, and as suspected, they are using that flank to draw away additional forces from elsewhere, so they are able to punch through there. That is my current assessment.
I will ask you, Blucher, how much longer do you think you want to go? Do you think you want to play another few turns, or do you think you want to call it relatively soon?
You mean as a player?
As a player, yeah.
If needed, I can go 3 more hours.
Okay.
You should know that I'm pretty try-hard about this.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not going to be the critical factor in when it gets
Yeah.
called. I think it's we've now played 5 hours, 5.5 hours,
4.5, around about, yeah.
4.5 basically.
Or five.
How
Well,
much
we've
longer?
been here for 5.5, but we've only played
Yeah,
4.5.
4.5.
So
But basically, how much longer can? Oh yeah, umpires have been here for 5.5. How much longer can you guys go? Because I remember Austerlitz was very draining. WATERLOO next week is going to be draining again.
yeah, I mean, I can go longer, but I'd kind of rather not. So
I mean, I'm fine either way. I probably have to make dinner soon enough, or parallel to this, but in theory, I can go on for hours.
yeah. Anyway, I've got to go back to the umpires and sort some stuff out.
I wanted to ask you a question, but now I forgot the question I wanted to ask you. Later then.
So, Cookie, how's it going from your perspective?
It is going sort of mixed. Because Zieten managed to hold in the east. No, not in the east, in the west. Mm-hmm. I think Second Corps in the east is going to hold on against a core-sized attack from Bottray, regardless of what they do, between their own infantry holding and their relatively large and relatively professional, if smaller than the French cavalry. They will be able to beat them off. What I'm worried about now is the attack in the center, which I believe the French are conducting with at least a core-sized, if not the Imperial Guard. And the question is if I can run out the remaining 2 hours 2 hours roughly before nightfall and fighting dying down.
What if you can't? What do you do then? What if they say, no, it'll be over before nightfall. The French are doing great. What do you do then?
Probably pretty historical. Retreat towards the north, prevent me any major formation being encircled, form a rear guard with parts of the army to save the rest, and try to link up with the British.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I actually think that's very sound. I think that's the correct response. If for the scenario that I put you in, just verbally. Now I can't tell you what I know. I don't
Yeah,
even know that
obviously,
I know.
I don't expect you to.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask that question because one of the problems that we run into is a lot of commanders tend to stay engaged a lot longer than they should, or when they, you said something that I like too. You mentioned rear guard, which is another thing that commanders don't know how to do, a retreat. So that was good to hear from you. I don't know, of course, whether or not you have to retreat or what's going on, or maybe it's the French are going to have to retreat. So I have to wait for those reports to come in. We don't want to break fog of war either, not
Obviously,
inadvertently.
but what I can tell you, because I can't break fog of war to you, obviously, till now we've cited one French cavalry corps, and what I think is maybe 1.5 infantry corps attacking on the eastern side. Not eastern, western side, I got mixed it up. But we have yet to see the Imperial Guard, which is basically elite and largest formation. And we have not yet seen, I think, the 2nd Cavalry Corps. I mean, it could be part of the corps-sized attack there, but I'm unsure if they really would throw everything into one direction. And I think they should have some more infantry left over as well that I've not seen yet. And considering the report I got, I believe it will be in the center because they are seeing the opportunity to cut off First Corps between their central attack and the force that is already keeping them engaged and unable to move freely.
Did you have a dedicated reserve today for the battle?
Now you're bringing out the difficult questions. I had the 1st Brigade of every corps as a reserve force, and I had basically 1 cavalry brigade on average from the Cav reserve as a reserve together with entire horse batteries. So I gave basically every infantry brigade some cavalry to give them some tactical flexibility, and also because due to how the game was structured, a single player could not command the entirety of 2nd Corps cavalry reserve, for example. It was like close to 3 brigades of cavalry. That was command and control for that was going to be iffy either way. So yeah, that was the initial plan. But then first, basically the entire 1st Corps charged out into a position where I did not want them to originally. And neither did the Corps commander. And then the 3rd Corps cavalry commander sort of ran off towards Ligny, and then I ordered him back, and now he's sort of missing. I think I know where he is, but I'm not entirely sure. His Corps commander doesn't know where he is. Yeah, it's been interesting.
Did you appoint your subordinates, or were they just filled in for you? Did you get to choose who your corps commanders would be?
I basically, Blazer Tray suggested a few, and I said okay because 2 of them were applied for Corps Commander at Waterloo next week, and the other one was, I think, one Corps Commander for the British side. So I just said, all right, works, because then I can evaluate the 2 on how well they did. So I know what to expect for next week, or whether I even want them as Corps Commander for next week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then I did today appoint the cavalry and infantry commanders, but strangely enough, nobody really wanted to be a cavalry commander, which is pretty strange in my experience.
I love playing cavalry. I like it, even if it's just give me 2 cavalry blocks and I'll be happy all day.
They got like 12 cavalry blocks, and was like 3 horse artillery.
That's too much, but yeah, I push 1 or 2 blocks and be happy all day. Sending you dispatches, but yeah. Well, cavalry's tough. Cavalry is tough to run. You have to know what you're doing to run cavalry effectively. Napoleonic cavalry is a little more fun because you can actually attack and do some things with it.
ACW cavalry is just...
Yeah.
I have not quite gotten it. I had one battle where it did great somewhat recently. It was, don't know which battle of Bull Run, where we did manage to encircle and more or less destroy one of the Confederate corps in the ACW campaign. But honestly, I'm not sure either how to really use cavalry in ACW yet, because it's not like here where you can just charge your cuirassiers into the enemy flank and just vaporize in half a corps.
Yeah, I think you and I played cavalry because I was playing a cavalry unit in that battle, and I think I saw you escape to the rear, and I kept sending dispatches to headquarters because I had orders, but I was sending dispatches to headquarters. Guys, they're back there. Guys, pay attention. Guys, look.
I did. I don't think... wait, are you on Carter's ACW campaign?
No, this was Bull Run, but it was a game about a month ago.
Oh, I didn't...
Did you play in that one? Was that you who ran Union Cavalry for it?
Oh, yes, right, yeah, that was me, yeah.
Yep.
I went the long outflanking way, the typical CAV commander style. I should have might have been an idea to flank earlier against you. I didn't know how...
You did great, as I recall. You did
position
great.
Was.
Yeah, you did great. My problem was I was sending the dispatches and trying to get people to pay attention. I was crying wolf, but nobody was listening. So you were the wolf. You were the wolf.
Yeah, I thought, let's do what Desert Fox and Co. are sort of famous for, and just disappear for a while before turning up somewhere unexpected. So apparently not quite as unexpected as I thought.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. I'll let you continue playing. It's been an interesting day. It's interesting to see all of this unfold and talk to everyone. Thank you for participating today, and good luck with the rest of the battle.
Yeah, thanks. It's going to be interesting how much longer it goes.
Yeah. All right.
Fancy little screenshot of the burning town of Saint Amand. All right.
Yeah. Saint Amand has turned into a campfire, and you can see entire buildings just entirely engulfed in flames.
Say lovey.
And then off to the east, you can see Ligny, which isn't doing much better. Also, fairly well engulfed in the blaze. And you can't make out much beyond the fire, but you can hear an absolute thunderous roar of artillery just echoing all throughout the area, and the unmistakable pop of musketry all around you.
Yeah, I'm sure I can. All right, very good. Everybody seems to be doing what they're supposed to, so thank you, sir.
Hopefully. Anything outstanding? Any orders? Just sitting
No,
here?
I'll just stay where I am for the moment, and I'll order up some marshmallows and some hot dogs.
All right. Your staff
Okay.
will be up with that pretty soon.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Achilles, did I just hear you say that everybody seems to be what they're supposed to be doing?
For the most part, they do seem to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, at least from the reports I'm getting.
Yeah, that's when you know something's definitely wrong.
No doubt about it. But my biggest question mark is I don't know where Kellerman went with the cavalry. He could have gone in one of two directions, either north or northeast, and I don't know which one he did. However, by his last dispatch, even though he didn't bother to tell me where he was, by his last dispatch, reading between the lines, it sounds like he went to the northeast, which is fine. He's protecting Gerard's right, so that's fine. And I've ordered the guard forward. The guard is, although quite honestly, I don't expect them to get into contact before the battle's over. So,
Okay, yeah.
other than that,
Let's see what happens. It just depends on how long before the umpires reveal to you that your entire army is routed. Until
well, so far the only routed people I've seen so far were a group of Prussian Fusiliers who came wandering into my Imperial headquarters to surrender.
well, that's nice. That causes questions.
Yeah,
How did they get through to the headquarters? But all right, nice to see you guys.
Apparently, they were sent south from Saint Amand from Third Corps, and so they just kind of wandered into town, and I rounded them up with the gendarmes who protect the headquarters, put them in a building somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah, like I said, the guards on the move. I'm beginning to think, and I'll be really fascinated to see this in the debrief. I think that the Prussians' starting positions, where they intended to defend, was much further north than where the starting line was for the game. And as a result, it's taken a lot longer to make contact with the main enemy because, I mean, I've got Gerard reporting to me he can't find the enemy, and he's at Ligny. Okay, he's like, his previous dispatch before this last one was like, I can't find the enemy. I don't know where they are. And then his next dispatch was, I think I found their flank, and so I'm going to start attacking over there. But yeah, I don't think they defended. Anywhere near the start line. I think they started much further back, at least on the left, and so it's taking longer to make contact with their main force. But then again, I don't know. I'll be interested to see what the debrief says.
So that tells me you didn't do a very good job scouting prior to the battle.
Well, I couldn't scout that far. That's the thing, It's like
fault, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I blame them. Yeah, I blame them. It ultimately didn't matter because our forces ended up concentrated in a location where they can strike together. Yeah. So it really didn't matter. It just took longer for it to happen than I would have liked. That's But I expected contact much sooner, and it's taken longer for that contact to happen. But there should be, there's probably some pretty intense fighting going on up there, so that's good.
Good.
That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
If I regret anything, it's that I should have sent the guard forward probably about an hour ago. But
well, Grand Waterloo now is next week. Have you guys done any planning or preparing for that?
I have, and today's battle and the test was is going to inform what I make my final decisions on. As in terms of personnel, in terms of concept for the battle, all the rest. And so I was kind of hoping to learn some things from today that will inform me as to the final preparations for Waterloo. And I think I have. I've seen lots of things that help me with that. So we shall see.
Commanded the guard today. I think he had a great time. What do you think?
Well, he keeps riding over to me, and every time he does, it's like right after I just sent him a dispatch to tell him to do something. And the pet peeve.
Yeah.
We both have of this kind of thing. It's like, stay with your people, okay? You should be over there because you just got a dispatch to tell them to move, and you're over here. It's like every time he shows up over here, I go, "What are you doing here?" It's like, get back to your troops, man. I mean, oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
You
have to listen to the exchange I had with him.
Yes, he can be a little ACDC or ACDC, ADD. He wants to get involved, and I want him to be involved. I want
asked to command the guard, and he should know that the guard is not committed until. I mean, it's the Arma decision, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't commit the guard until either an act of desperation or an act of exploitation.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, they were actually under my personal command for the entire day until I sent them over to him to take Fourth Corps' positions. So, and the reason it was easy enough to do because we didn't have enough people to command everything. I put them under me because they're not going anywhere. They weren't actually going to be doing much. So this way, I didn't have a player that was just sitting on his ass the whole game. And so anyway, yeah. But now Groshi's happy. He gets to march off with the guard, and by the time he gets to where the fighting is, it'll probably be over. So
yeah, right. All right. Good job, Achilles. I'm gonna pop up to the umpires and see what's going through their heads. And yeah, we should be pretty close to wrapping up, I think. I think we all know it by now. So.
Okay, I think so.
All right.
All right, thank you, sir.
You got it.
That would be one more turn, but I don't think it's worth.
All right.
Do you want to do one more turn?
I don't mind either way.
Let's do one more.
One more turn. All right.
One more, guys. It won't hurt us. One more.
It's like playing Civilization 4 all over again.
One more turn, huh?
You're not tired of it already, are you, Marshall?
I need a nap.
Yeah, me too.
My wife took off to the beach without me, so she's like, I'm out. I'm gone. I'm like, really, sweetheart? I just need another hour. Nah. Oh well. She's probably out there with some guy with a lot more muscles. So,
He doesn't have Kriegsspiel blocks, though, does he? Let's
right.
be honest.
That's right. He probably plays miniatures, plays with dolls. So there, you deserve each other.
I don't think Hoban Strugnow would be captured. Or we'll roll for it. On a 1, a roll for both of them. A 1 they get captured. Or a 1 they get killed, a 2 they get captured. They're both fine.
All right, let me go figure out what this cavalry commander wants to do.
Von Zeten order a charge around Brie.
Yes.
So yeah, the first wave charged, but then there are 2 more waves. We resolve.
Yep.
What decision does Cookie get to make here? Like what does he do? I think that's him in the center, is it?
Well, he does have a whole core that's been completely unengaged on his left, so he might be able to shift some of that over. But would it be in time to actually
No.
have make a difference? You know.
No. Yeah. No. So, oh man, that's rough. That's rough. What are you?
Yeah, out.
Or
Go
does he
ahead.
just? I mean, he's not ordered that core to fall back, which he really should at this point. Either order it to form a rear guard, or order that core to form a rear guard and fall back to wherever they're retreating. I don't know if they're retreating to Namur or whatever, but or Wavre.
Blazer.
It's either Wavre or Namur or their big sort of road to retreat. But the road to Namur is basically cut by the French at this point. So,
Blazer, can you help me resolve that charge around Brie?
Sure. They're
So the first wave charged and routed the.
All right, they're gonna just resolve that, and yeah, it is absolutely over for the Prussians at this point. It went pretty much as I expected it was gonna go. Speglord has some comments there on the YouTube. Hello to you. We got our viewers back, which is cool. The Prussian losses are heavy here again. It does look like the army may escape destruction. Certainly he's going to save a corps, probably 2 corps, and then one is going to be so badly mauled they would not probably be a very effective force on the day of. French losses are probably, like the French probably have a corps that's pretty badly mauled, but the rest of their force is probably pretty intact. Their cavalry arm is certainly in good shape. The guard is pristine. We've got the artillery here, which you see here. The artillery is in great shape. So Napoleon would be going into Waterloo if this were to carry over. He'd be going into Waterloo in decent condition. He could take this beaten up corps, hold them in reserve, and let them kind of recuperate and, guard a flank or a rear or something where he doesn't expect action, and go in with the rest of his forces, which would be relatively fresh. Then it comes down to, what are the British going to do? But at this point, the Prussians are not a factor anymore, at least not today. So the Prussians are out. They're knocked out. Tomorrow is another day, though. So, yeah, it's... But we knew from the start this is how it was going to go. The calculus is pretty sound, so there we have it. They are going to go one more turn. I think they should. I would call it just to save time and energy. Because I don't see what decision the Prussians have to make that would actually be interesting or fun. You do it if it's going to be fun. There may be 1 or 2 commanders, though, that have been planning something. They want to spring that and let the commanders see how it goes. That would be justification to run another term. Even if in the main, the players are pretty much done. So there could be something like that. I don't know what was in their calculus to run another turn, but that's okay. Let's go to Cookie if I can find you. All right, Cookie.
Yeah.
There you are. What do you see from your position on the field?
I see that we got whipped apparently, and that I did not get to do anything for an hour.
Oh no.
Yeah, I literally wanted to order both cavalry brigades in the north to reinforce the position in the center, and
what went wrong? What went wrong?
I
Why
don't know.
didn't they?
I did not know Empire came in here.
I'll have to ask about that because I don't know either. Wow. I will say, because I think your sense of it is sufficient, that I think maybe we can talk a little bit about it. That I think hearing your battle plan and hearing Achilles' battle plan, this unfolded. I don't see how it could have gone differently.
Okay.
So that's my. So I want you to take some comfort in that. Once you guys do your plans, it was kind of a done deal. I also, and you can watch the live stream now. The live stream's broken in two parts because my computer froze not long after I spoke to you last. I had to reboot and restart the live stream.
Okay.
So there'll be two videos you can watch, but the first one, I think you'll hear my analysis of it. And I will tell people what I said about your plan, which is I think it was a very good plan. I think it was a smart plan.
I suspect what happened is Achilles just went bypassed my central positions where he had to painfully get through and where we would have been warned and could have fallen back. He made a large outflanking attack on the eastern side, waited long enough, and then tried to punch through elsewhere. Is my suspicion.
Well, I'm not going to confirm or deny any of that. We'll let the post-battle debrief inform you. But his plan was simple. It was sound. It was effective. I don't know what you could have done differently. I think the only thing different is something we talked about last time. If you had a division or a corps, I don't think you could put a corps in reserve. I don't think you could afford that. If you had a division in reserve, but then where do you park the reserve? And then, I'm hearing that you gave orders an hour ago, and those forces are still not present, or they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
No. The thing is, I wanted to send dispatches at 19:00 because I got a dispatch at 6:40 p.m. That it was sent, and it was still 6:40 p.m. I was not willing to send a dispatch because it was before it was confirmed that it was 19:00. Because and that's the reason. And then nobody came for the next 30 minutes to my channel, and I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you'll have to ask about that and see or look at the review because I don't know. But that's tough. You expect to have forces ready, and you give an order, and you don't even know if the order went out. So yeah, I get that can be quite frustrating. Otherwise, I think from my perspective as just an observer, I think you did quite well. The fact that the battle has the outcome that it has, it really, it's not a measure of your skill as a commander, because what's a measure is the decisions you've made with what you were given, and I think you made good, reasonable decisions with what you were given. So I'm proud of you.
Yeah, we shall see how the after action discussion turns out.
Yeah. So what are you making for dinner?
Not sure yet. Going to decide afterwards.
It's after lunchtime. I haven't even had breakfast. Oh boy, I've just been doing this all day. But there we go. Well, all right. All right. What's your favorite food, Cookie? Do you like Chinese, Italian, Mexican food, American food? What's your favorite?
I'm partial to different stuff.
You're in Switzerland?
No, I'm in Germany.
In Germany, what do they have Mexican food in Germany?
I mean, yeah, in the larger cities, obviously they have Mexican restaurants, but I have not been to any really yet.
Yeah, I'm in California, so we have the best Mexican food in the world outside of Mexico. So, yeah, it's a favorite. But I love Chinese and Italian too.
Really Chinese or just Americanized Chinese?
Oh, American Chinese for sure. Yeah. Yeah, American Chinese. Yeah, just like our Italian food is American. You know, it's American, yeah, Italian food, but I like them. Yeah, you're right. That's that's one of the reasons I love multiculturalism. I've always told people, don't you like having different food to eat? I'm not a fan of American food. Some American food's pretty good. A lot of it's just kind of okay, a little uninteresting to me. You know. But, you know, hamburgers, hot dogs are okay, but whatever, not really, you know, a certain amount of that I can do, but. I'm just watching them move all the pieces here. They decided to run one more turn, which they've done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, basically, I'm just a bit frustrated because my last I basically got forgotten here because I think Peter bowed out. Not sure, and
yeah, Peter did have to go, and somebody was supposed to take over working with you. I hope that's happened. If not, then somebody forgot.
no, it has not.
Uh-oh. All right.
That's the problem. That was the problem I described to you earlier. The only thing I got since then was a single screenshot for 7:40 p.m. by Blazer.
Okay.
So yeah, that's been a bit frustrating in that regard.
Yeah, yeah, you have the right to be frustrated about that. I agree. Umpires are humans too, and there's a lot going on, but still, you're kind of the commander in chief. You got to be covered. All right. I think they're about done. You haven't seen the Imperial Guard yet, I'm certain.
No, I have not, but I'm pretty certain it's coming up in the center.
Hello?
There we
Hello.
are. That's the end of the game, folks.
Oi!
All right, let's listen to the umpire debrief and hear what some of the players have to say.
All right, we are calling the game here. Before I break Fog of War, I'm going to ask both CNCs, so Achilles and or Cookie and Achilles, or Blucher and Napoleon. I'm going to ask you both. First of all, actually, I'm just going to ask you a single question, and that is, who do you think won this battle? So, Achilles, do you want to go first? Who won the battle of? Ligny?
I think we did.
And von Blucher, who do you think won?
The same.
All right. I'll stream the game now and break Fog of War, so you can all see the whole battlefield.
Is there a table we can join?
Yes, although I don't know how many slots there are. It's called Ligny Umpire Table. The password
It'll probably cause a lot of lag if we have too many people join the table.
Yeah, you might want to save the game state before.
Yeah, that's a good
anyone gets
idea.
I'll just watch the stream now.
Let me just quickly save the end state before everyone joins, so don't join yet, please. Okay. As the game is over, the French have. Can you all see my stream? Yeah. Yeah. The French have broken through the. Or sorry, have broken through the Prussian center. They have a large massed cavalry corps, which is basically entirely fresh to cuirassier divisions and carabinier divisions. It's basically poised to pursue the Prussians as they retreat. The Prussians have a couple brigades in reserve that they could maybe commit. They do also have the Second Corps on their left, which is completely unengaged, more or less, which they might be able to shift, but at best it's going to be a rear guard. So, yeah. Dave, do you want to summarize the whole battle? Because
so I can only really speak from Sector A, which was the left of the French line, but basically the action started at around 2:30 around Saint Armand. You had the corps under Van Damme moving up north to engage the Prussians at Saint Armand and Saint Armand Longpre, as well as taking this bit of high ground here to the left of it. And yeah, the men just kind of got sucked into a kind of a defensive action by the Prussians, and probably by about 3:30, it was clear that the Prussians were pulling back in order to kind of shorten their defensive line. Out to the right of the Prussian line, the corps here under was it Zeiten? Von Zieten, yeah. Started pulling back, even though it necessarily wasn't engaged. So, I mean, we'll hear of why people did that. But yeah, basically, yeah, Saint Armand was a bit of a murder field, as well as the village of Bry. As towards the end of the battle, the French have clearly taken the grand battery of the Prussians and pretty much broken the Prussian center, which caused a bit of a collapse as you can see that the Prussians are
I have some severe complaining to do.
Hang on. But out to the French right, I will have to leave it over to the umpire who was in charge of C. Who was running C again? Was it Liam?
That's Liam. Although, if we're going left to right, does Tunis Rad want to go next?
Sure.
In the center, which was Sector B.
Yeah, I think we had expected the center to be where all the action was, but beside an action against Ligny, kind of early on, coming from the west, there really wasn't a whole lot of action in the center until there at the end. I'm not sure I really have much to say about the center beside the Grand Battery. The French Grand Battery was deployed there at the beginning. I think they were expecting to see Prussian infantry coming over the ridge, but that never happened. So yeah, the center really early on and midway through the game wasn't exactly very exciting.
All right, and Liam, you were on the right, which Sector C, which was probably even less exciting than the center, but no. What do you think?
Yeah. So basically, the Prussians just sat there basically the entire time. They were in defensive positions. The French 4th Corps, I believe, began the game by having it start marching against orders, and so it had to go sit back down. Then later, about mid-game, it began moving towards the center of the battle to add defenses, and the Guard replaced it. Eventually, in the last 2 turns, the Guard has also started moving toward the Prussian center to engage it. About mid-game, the French cavalry did a sweep in front of the Prussian forces of 2nd Corps, the Prussian 2nd Corps, but didn't engage anything. The only real fighting was some French cavalry that got shot by artillery, and then Prussian cavalry running away, and Prussian infantry forming square, but the French cavalry quickly left, and the Prussians didn't do much thereafter. It was, although Wilgo had some fun building a bakery, so that explains how much time they had on their hands.
All right, we'll go to... Actually, before we go to the players, Marshall, you were commentating. What are your general thoughts on the game? Marshall, you there? Maybe we'll come back to him. Achilles, do you want to give your thoughts as Napoleon?
Sure. What would you like me to cover? You want me to give you the general concept?
Yeah,
in the
general overview of how the game went from the French perspective, what you were thinking, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. All right. The concept was to concentrate as much of our force against a small area of the Prussian line, break through, and then exploit. The targeted area was the Saint-Amand-Ligny area. The beginning of the battle, Third Corps on the left was intended to be seen by the enemy. I don't know if they were or not, but they were intended to be seen by the enemy. They started the ball by going after Saint-Amand. Essentially, the complete concept was basically an attack in echelon. Third Corps attacked Saint-Amand, and then once that engagement began and was committed, the Second Corps Cavalry, which was stationed back to the southeast of, I don't know how to pronounce that town, Ferru, were to cross that open plain, the Comte Brabant or whatever, cross that open plain and head north-northeast. And Fourth Corps would follow in right behind them. So that way, the Cavalry Corps, Second Cavalry Corps, would be protecting Fourth Corps' right and sweeping that plain clear in case there were enemy forces on the plain in front of them. Hopefully, to push people into square, that kind of thing, make it even easier for the infantry. Fourth Corps was to be right on their tail, and Fourth Corps' objective was Ligny. Once that was taken, they could exploit or try to clear the plain above them. And then the cavalry would be in a position to exploit the breakthrough once we made it. It appeared to me, and I'm not sure. So the Prussian commander can speak to this. It appeared to me that the Prussians started back further from the start line than I expected them to. So it took longer for each of these moves to actually make contact with a true significant enemy force. Saint-Amand was taken. Ligny was, I think, barely defended that I'm aware of. But then once that was done, then the enemy line was kind of found to the north of that. And the advantage of the position we were in was that we had so much force concentrated in that area, we could quickly respond to the location of the enemy and still hit them with a concentrated force, which it looks like that's pretty much what happened. So, there you go.
And I'm back, guys.
Finally.
Well, I was downstairs. My mic was muted. I could hear you guys calling on me, and I'm like, I've got to go back upstairs. But anyway.
Do you want to let Blucher respond to Napoleon first?
Yeah.
So, Cookie, go ahead.
All right. Basically, Achilles was right in that defending Ligny and Saint-Amand was not my main. Was not really a goal. I put some troops there basically to force the French to deploy to buy time and to set the building on fire buildings on fire if I had to retreat to slow down the French. The original defense line was further north of that, and originally I had as already described, the first corps to the west in the center, the third corps, and to the east, the second corps. And I originally had one infantry brigade and the entire cavalry as a reserve behind the main lines. Before that plan went out of the window quite quickly, because First Corps, the brigade's commanders decided to move up into positions that I originally, neither Zieten nor I originally really wanted to defend, and which we were only holding for the sake of slowing down the French troops. And in the center, the 3rd Cavalry Corps somehow decided to move up to behind Ligny, which von Thiemann and I were both also surprised about, because we did not order it or expect it. And then the 3rd Cavalry reserve of 3rd Cavalry sort of disappeared from our view, basically where they were. Maybe Blazer, you can tell me now where the hell they are at the moment, because I did not have a clue. And yeah, basically how it went for me was basically, for the first part of the game, I was wondering whether the attack on my western part was a serious attack, or whether it was a ploy to draw away enough forces from another section to make the main push. There, towards around 6:40 p.m., I realized it was going to be a concentrated push through the center, but at that point my empire stopped coming, and I did not basically receive an update for the rest of the game where I had any agency or was able to give out dispatches or anything. So that was very frustrating in the end.
Blaze, you're muted if you're trying to speak.
He must have gone to get a drink of water. Marshall, let's just hear from your point of view as you did the commentating.
Sure. This kind of unfolded the way I predicted. First of all, there's 2 live streams because my computer froze in the last hour, a little over an hour ago. So there's the main live stream, and then you can catch this second part, this last hour, on the second live stream on the YouTube. But you do hear my commentary and my analysis, as well as me speaking to key figures at key points, and having some fun as well all throughout. And I think it's good commentary, and people will enjoy listening to it. That being said, I think that Cookie did a good job. I don't think he could have done much better. I did ask him a tough question. I'm like, well, did you have a reserve? And he did explain, he kind of cobbled together some local reserves in each area, which makes some sense. I think if he had a concentrated division in reserve, but then the other problem is, where do you park that? Not knowing where Achilles is going to attack. Achilles' strategy was quite simple. It was, focus on one area, just slam everything in. And it's pretty hard to defend against that kind of an attack. I mean, that's the kind of attack that's supposed to win, especially if you don't have a large formation you can throw into the breach, as a reserve or to counterattack. What else was I going to say on that? My issue for the Prussians was, and I mentioned this early on, I don't think that Kriegsspiel gamers have the finesse or the skill to fall back or to do a rear guard action or to do anything other than kind of push all their pieces to the middle. And I keep seeing this over and over. I keep complaining about it over and over again, that players tend to, just shove all their blocks into one spot and then let it ride, like they're playing poker. And it would be refreshing to see scenarios where players actually have to do rear guard actions and learn how to retreat, learn the signs that, hey, maybe I need to get out, and then successfully extract themselves from dangerous situations created by their enemies. Because I give a lot of credit to a player who says, we can't win here, let's skedaddle, let's get out and survive to fight another day. So that's my take on it. And the only other big observation is that the Prussian defeat here is certainly the sole responsibility of Jan Heinemann, and I hold him personally responsible for the Prussian collapse.
I take all the blame.
A little inside joke, yeah. All right, yeah, it was a good game. Actually, it was fun to commentate it. Good job, everyone. Good job, especially to Blazer, by the way. Put a hell of a lot of work. I even talked about that in the live stream, how much work he did. So, yeah.
I think Blazer's having some technical issues. We can go on to the Corps commanders and hear things from their perspective. What was the Corps, the French Corps on the left? Third Corps, Van Damme.
Third Corps, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to say how things were from your perspective?
I basically, in the planning, I said I want to have Third Corps, and I want to go up and take that crossroad that we were that basically has the road going to Belgium or to the Rhine. And I'm very happy that I was given this task, though obviously it was first capture Saint Amand, and then go up further north or get behind Ligny. I had 2 very new players, which was really nice. We had Sheephead, who was 11th Division, is his first game, and struggling to find Haber or Chaper, who was it's his second game and he was 10th Division, and of course Dogpilot has played a lot, who was 8th Division. So the plan basically that I wanted to take some Saint Amand was to go in from the south, pin them down, and then have Dogpilot with 8th Division come around from the north, and we pretty much did that. We encircled the town almost, we took some prisoners, and then from there we walked up to make a new line facing the Prussians at the Saint Amand long press, and that from there I basically took a breather to reassess, and I moved a little bit back and forth between the commanders to reassess and see what's going on. And we determined that the best way to break them here is to get on those hills east of Saint Amand, and then hook around northeast to the west towards Brie, I think it's called. Yeah, and then from there kind of roll up the Prussians who were located on those hills near Wagner. I really enjoyed the game. I thought the umpiring was great and everything. Yeah, I'm excited for Waterloo.
Complimenting the umpires is definitely the best move. Okay, let's hear from a Prussian Corps commander.
Except for Tunis, because he sucked, man.
Wow. All right, Napoleon just broke both of his legs for Waterloo.
He's already ill. Leave him alone. He's got stomach pain.
The Prussian First Corps commander is Zeiten. Would
Hello,
you
thank
like
you for muting me.
Okay. Released from prison.
Yes, I have been released from prison. I have a lot of things to tell. First things first. The battle began with exactly what I hoped wouldn't happen, which is my corps commanders moved forwards. My brigade commanders moved forwards, which was not particularly fun. So I had to adjust my plans, which is why I ordered first my cavalry to move to plug in a gap in my line, because our line all the way back to Montbray was actually just completely open. If you had ridden between Wagner and hold on, let me check. Villers-Pérouan. If you had ridden between that, there was a point where there was nobody on that line, so you could just get erect. And then things started getting really bad to worse in terms of the information that I was getting. And what do I mean by that? By that, I mean I was starting to get really conflicting information from the umpires. Specifically with respect to, essentially, we didn't have enough people playing the Prussians. We had to amalgamate some commands. We amalgamated 1st Brigade and 3rd Brigade. We amalgamated 2nd Brigade and 4th Brigade. This was a mistake. We should have kept them in geographically connected positions. 2nd Brigade and 4th Brigade ended up being both ends of my line, and I kept getting reverse information as to who was who. Because one was in Brie, the other was in Villers-Pérouan, and I got completely mismatched information. So I would ask an umpire, say, hey, who's in Villers-Pérouan? And they would tell me 4th. And then I would ask another, and they would tell me 2nd. And I would give them an order to say, hey, I want to move to this brigade, and it would be sent towards the other way. So, because I couldn't get 2 umpires to agree on the same information of who was where. That really screwed up some of my plans. There was a point, so I started just running along the front line and having to manually communicate and say, hey, grab the unit that's here and drag them to this locale. Why did I withdraw and try to shorten the line the way that I had? Essentially by withdrawing back to Chambray, which was somewhere that, like, the umpires had a hell of a tough time trying to figure out where it was. But anyway, the reason was I initially heard that there was an entire corps around Melee that was moving towards there. Later, it turned out it was a single corps, and we were being attacked around Wagner and Saint-Amand. So that was a mistake of my reading. That was wholly a fog of war mistake. But eventually, when I got there and I got back from Marbe, I was actually able to form a defense. I'm still not sure who is still up there in Chambray, because I feel like I lost the brigade somewhere because people got mad. I'm not sure if this was an issue of my own communication, if there was an issue of a misunderstanding of the umpires. I literally lost a brigade somewhere in that conversation, and that means essentially I didn't have a reserve. My last order was literally grab these people who aren't there and send them to the front, to the big crossroads, to defend against the incoming onslaught. I still had fresh troops. Would it be the end of the world? Or rather, would it have been the big winning? No, because there was an entire corps that I was not aware of, that was just trying to plug that gap, and at most I would have called it off because, the day. Time is running out. It's going to be, we have another hour, essentially, of sunlight, which is just enough for pursuit. It's going to be kind of a nightmare in and of itself. I certainly think that at that point I took a huge beating, and I was going to get run over. But I also feel like some sort of communication error happened. But it was just running around trying to get my troops that were supposed to move, but they weren't not moving at all. It took me a while. I had to. So it was definitely something that I had to be very active with my fight, with my command in that sense. Other than that, the French felt surprisingly slow and ponderous on their advance. I expected them to rush face first, but they didn't. Other than that, it was very well fought by the French. I think the umpires were losing this game because this thing could not have happened. I just have complaints because I kept getting mismatching information in ways that I felt sloppy. This was not I don't know how to put it. Finally, yeah.
I can't speak to what was going on there, but misinformation is not necessarily an accident. On the umpire's fault.
Okay. There is a degree of there's a degree of intentional information. I feel like this one was. It's specifically the way that it was said. It was like, hey, who's on this area, on this specific area, Villers-Pérouan? And then I would ask an umpire, and they would say 4th Brigade. and then I would ask another umpire, and they would say 2nd Brigade, and I would issue orders, and then I would say, hey, I want to go to this specific locale with this brigade, and it would get sent to the other brigade. This was a problem of, I want to say, staff work, because I don't think it was the same commander for both. We're talking about, we're talking about two. It was the same commander for both, and I feel like the umpires really screwed it up. And I essentially ended up losing an entire one. Losing an entire brigade in that process. I feel I fought well with what I got. It's just that this is the kind of accident that happens from the umpire side that this would be reasonable in war, but it was also not fun. And it's also something that I very much complain about, because this wasn't something that the umpires prepared. This was something that it doesn't read to me. I feel like I'm ranting because this is one thing that really got into me. It was I feel like I'm very proud of my commanders. I feel like they did extremely well. I think my superior did it extremely well. I take any fault for any at all fault for that collapse at that angle. This just feels sloppy. It doesn't feel fun, and it's the kind of thing that in a larger scenario, this would just be. It was a problem caused by a decision to amalgamate forces, and the umpires who got caught in that staff work, which I understand it's a hell of a lot of work to manage a war game. But similarly, I'm going to put in that complaint because, it generally affected my experience.
Well, with that complaint on board, because that was the sector I was running, and I was not aware that you were experiencing such problems. But that's something for me to perhaps look at in the future. But I think, as you so rightly stated, it just kind of stemmed from the fact that we didn't have enough players to cover all the bases, and some forces got amalgamated, and because of the pressure times that we were under as well, we had to keep rolling. But that's just how the cookie crumbled. But it's something for everyone to look out for in the future. And of course, if you're having repeat problems, then just flag down an umpire and say this is the situation, and we'll take a look at it from another angle. Okay. Let's move on to.
Thank you so much for running the game. The service was impeccable, or not impeccable. It had zeros, but the service was much appreciated in the sense of
impeccable. Let's just stop at impeccable.
Let's move on to Gerard's 4th Corps. Let's hear from them.
So So in terms of the 4th Corps, as Achilles has mentioned, we were ordered to take Ligny, and we were initially we attempted to. There was some miscommunication, and our whole corps started to advance, which we quickly reversed. Overall, just in short, once the cavalry went across us, we were pretty much right behind them, moving towards Ligny, but it still took us quite some time to actually generate an attack north, and we quickly found out that the Prussians had abandoned Ligny, and in setting it on fire, our 12th Division had some trouble actually getting into grips with the enemy, but our 13th Division was able to move forward just essentially straight north from those hills that are to the east of Ligny, which is something that I had prioritized as an early objective for our force. We moved forward with the 13th Division, and the 14th moved towards the town to the west of Ligny, which I can't remember the name of it. It's like Soref or something like that, and engaged the forces that were in there. But in general, the 14th didn't really get to do much attacking. We were sort of delayed in our attack just due to the circumstances of just trying to get there was a little problematic because we had to wait for the cavalry. and then Ligny burned. But at the end there, I think we were in a pretty strong position to continue an attack north or respond to any threats that were coming from our east. Overall, I think all the commanders did well in our team, and I was happy they get to play. Overall, it was pretty simple for us. We just moved north.
Excellent. Tealman, so Comrade Kermit, do you have anything to say about your call?
Yeah, I guess my main goal was to not lose my command. It remains to be seen whether or not that will happen. With 12th Brigade, they were the ones at Ligny. I was a little slow to respond to their plight. That was kind of on me. I had an extra brigade. I could have started moving. Actually, I had 2 extra brigades. I could have started moving up. But I also didn't really know where my cavalry reserve is. I got 2 dispatches from them in the entire game. So sorry if you didn't get any orders. I probably had couriers running all across the battlefield trying to find you. Yeah. That's about it.
Excellent. Perch number 1. I don't want to interrupt anyone, but let's hear from Perch number 1, Second Corps of the Prussians. Who was Perch?
Sorry for that. I turned my mic off.
That's all right.
Unlike my colleagues Eaton, we had a very quiet game, I would say. In the strategy discussion before the game, we suspected that the French would launch an attack on Saint-Armand and Ligny. But as Blucher has already explained, our plan was to delay and withdraw in good order, if at all possible. The second corps' role was to do what the second corps did essentially throughout the game, which was stand where it was. We didn't have any movement on our front until a large number of cavalry appeared. At that time, it was not clear that the main attack was going into Saint-Armand and Ligny. There was a suspicion that it was, but it wasn't confirmed. And what I was trying to do was to assess whether this cavalry was a screen for a more significant French offensive. In the end, the cavalry disappeared. By the time they disappeared, I suspect that the French main attack had already was well developed. It was across the Ligny stream, and the panic had set in. From my point of view, I found the umpiring very good, very helpful. The only difficulty I had was the umpires kept changing. But given that we were on a more or less inactive part of the front, I don't think that was particularly important. Of the 4 brigades in my corps, 2 of them were not occupied, so came under my direct command. But they were in very good defensive positions, and I didn't need to move them very much at all. My 2 other corps commanders were fairly new to the game, and I think they did very well indeed. Certainly the communication between us, I think, was as good as I could expect. Certainly the Reserve Cavalry Corps, for me, was very effective in ascertaining the composition of the enemy cavalry that we were up against. Blucher had, after warning that there was a big attack developing around our right flank, asked if I could start moving the cavalry reserve nearer to the centre. This was done. they weren't called upon to do anything to assist First and Second Corps. In fact, I was unaware of the progress of the French attack on the left flank. My corps is totally intact, but unfortunately, we would not be in a position to cover the retreat of most of the remains of First and Second Corps, and we would be retreating to the northeast, away from Quatre Bras and away from the English. So I concur that it certainly was a French victory. But I enjoyed the game, and I hope my corps commanders did so as well.
Yeah, well, let's hope that you get more action when it comes to Waterloo if you're playing that.
I am indeed.
One quick question: yes or no? Is Jan Heinemann under your command?
I don't know is the answer to that. I think he might be.
In this game, he was.
That explains everything. All right.
Shall we hear from Grouchy? Although I suppose you didn't really get to do much yourself. You still here? Who was playing Grouchy?
Yeah, I am. Marshall, please no.
Go ahead.
When you watch the stream, you'll understand the context. But anyway, I was playing Marshal Grouchy, the last Marshal of France. I was commanding Napoleon's right wing in this battle, which included Gerard's 4th Corps and the Imperial Guard. Although that was commanded directly by Napoleon, it was away. So I'm going to include that onto my wing. The game was very quiet. That's what I'll say. It started off with some sense of action, as we had to sort out the mess that was 4th Corps divisional commanders. We managed to get them back into position, and I made them understand that until we get any sort of dispatch from Achilles, we are not going on the offensive. Which was pretty much what he wanted us to do. Our signal was basically the cavalry just going in, or a dispatch from him. I kept writing back and forth to Achilles because I just didn't have to do anything most of the time, and he probably the most comedic part of this game, if I'm honest with you. Achilles went into character as Napoleon and began telling me in quite a high tone, "Get back to your positions! What are you doing here? Get back to the guard! Get them moving back to 4th Corps positions! I just ordered them on the attack!" He was ranting a lot while I was present, and I think that was very funny. Certainly in character. In between that, I really did nothing else. I just kind of brought the guard into position. Then I got roasted by Marshall, who came into my VC mid-battle, and he was like, "Yo, what's good?" And I told him, "I feel like disobeying Achilles today, because I fear that those Prussians are going to go attack 4th Corps." And he was like, "Were you ordered to do that?" And he burned me, man. He grilled me. I was hotter than a brisket after 14 hours of cooking. But certainly, eventually I got what I wanted, but at the end of the game. 2 turns after I came back from my last meeting with Achilles, and fun fact, I got 2 dispatches that were supposed to come in probably before, at the same time, ordering me to go on the attack. But I went to Achilles by the time those dispatches arrived. It was pretty confusing. But eventually, during the last 2 turns of the game, I got to attack, and I was like, all right, my objective is to reach Tongren just before the game ends. So I just ordered everyone to go on the quickest pace possible, basically a double time, and I sadly didn't accomplish my objective. Couldn't commit the guard. What am I good for?
Whose fault was that,
Overall,
Zindos? Whose fault was that?
Marshall.
It was Jan Heinemann's fault, but also you.
Well, thank you. You encouraged me not to use initiative, and then I just decided not to. Well, the best part of this game for me was listening to Achilles' rants and Marshall roasting me. Apart from that, there wasn't much to do. Yeah, so I think my corps commanders performed. My corps commander performed very. He was good, basically, really good, actually. From the start of the game, I got a good impression from him, and he did what I would have done in his position, which was immediately begin scouting out the field with his light cavalry. He managed to reorganize his corps quite quickly, actually, and I think he was able to coordinate more effectively than I would have if I was in charge. So, hats off to you, Jen, who was playing Gerard. Yeah, that's it. I think the umpires, though, did a great job. I know there was some confusion in other parts of the game, but this was a stress test, and I think they got what they wanted from it. They know that not to run these kinds of games without a lot more umpires. Certainly, though, they overworked themselves, and I think they did a great job on my sector because I did nothing mostly.
Can I ask Achilles a question real quick?
Go for it. I think we've
Achilles,
heard from all the corps commanders that are here, but if I've missed anyone out, then go ahead, KB, and ask.
Will Van Damme be receiving a Marshall's baton?
Never.
For his glorious attack on the Prussian?
No answer, it seems, because he's muted.
Seems he has to wait for later.
I guess it's a no.
Well, I think we could talk all night about this, but we shan't. I think it's probably a good time to maybe just let you all get on with your
Marshall.
Yeah, let you get on with all your evenings. I guess we'll see you all hopefully for Waterloo next week. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'll let you just kind of chat amongst yourselves now. For those of you if you want to stick around. But yeah, I don't know what you want to do, Marshall, but I guess you can close the stream now. Otherwise, we'll be talking all night.
I think Marshall will just continue roasting me. He'll need at least 3 more times before he can close the stream. I don't think he got enough of it. After watching that, I'm sure he enjoyed it so much that he wanted to continue. I mean, come on, Marshall. You can't say no. You can do it. Marshall's.
He's not even here either. So
no, he's still here.
I'm here. I was just muted because I'm trying to watch my language on the live stream, and I'm talking about Zindos here, and it just has that effect.
Wow! That's very nice of you, Marshall. Let's go meet me and you at Los Angeles. I'm gonna with my
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, with my 5'11" ass, I'm gonna go fight you and
1v1 IRL.
Boom, boom, boom.
Right there on Century Boulevard, next to LAX Airport. Yeah. It's
race for pinks.
We'll go meet at some Kriegsspiel event, and then I'm gonna be like, "Yo, let's 1v1 right now, me and you."
It's on. It's on.
Fist to fist, and then I pull out my Kriegsspiel set.
There you go. Blocks are minis.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
All right. I'm going to go to my other channel. I'm going to wrap up the live stream. Obviously, everybody will continue chattering and hanging out. But I want to thank you all for being a part of this. I know Blazer had some issues, but on his behalf also, I thank him. Thank you, Dave, and all the umpires and people who have been part of this experience. It's a really cool live stream and a really cool game, and I just deeply appreciative for everybody who's making the IKS such a great place. Thank you all.
Marshall, I feel like if I signed up for the IKS roast, there would be like 3 pages worth roast me.
It's actually up to 5 already. You just haven't seen it yet. So.
I'd like to apologize for any outbursts.
All right, folks. All right. That's the end of our coverage of Grand Ligny today, which was a prelude to Waterloo. And I appreciate all of you on the live stream for being here to watch it. Speg Lord, thank you for your commentary there. You're spot on with all of that. If you haven't played with us yet, because I don't recognize the name, you might have a different name in Discord. But definitely hit up our Discord and join us, Kriegsspiel.org. Everything's there. Yeah, get involved with us. So great. All right, everyone, take care, and we will see you all